Hi Heidi, it's Colleen. I am sending you this, or creating this video for you, going over your paper. I'm going to first take a quick look at your APA. There's some issues with your APA 1. The font for your headers, it needs to be Times New Roman 12, which it is not. Also here for your references, I'm not sure why you have the dictionary in here. Another thing would be that this is incorrect. It should be Friedman AL 2006. That's correct. But next you would have the title of her article, which would just be Payment for Living Organ Donation Should Be Legalized. I don't believe there's an A in there. And that should not be italicized. And then there should be a period. Then the British Medical Journal 333, which is italicized. The page numbers are not. And then you need to include the DOI. So you need to go back and go through your APA manual and correct this. Also, references should not be in bold. Let's see. You need to have the words running head here. So it would actually be a small h for running head. Again, this all needs to be in Times New Roman 12. And you also need to have the page numbers, which you do not have a page number on this. Looking at your paper itself, you've got extra spacing between your paragraphs. This can easily be fixed. You hit Control A to select everything, and then under paragraph you want to put, there should be 0, 0, double space. That gives you true double spacing, and that's how it is for MLA and APA. You're going to need to do that for all of your papers. So then you hit OK, and now you're closer to where you're supposed to be. Your margins look okay. Going through your paper with the proper settings on it. Let's see, your references. You'd hit Insert, Page Break to put that at the top of the next page. So I see that this makes your paper about a half a page short, but probably the comments I'll give you will help you get that corrected. Something else is actually, that should make a difference there too. Insert Page Break, put that at the top of the page. So I think now you'll actually have the full, won't you? Oh, not quite, but close. Okay. Sorry to keep scrolling up and down, but it doesn't make you dizzy. Here, it needs to be Friedman, comma, 2006, comma. Now, that's something that's really important with APA, which is that you always, 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 always have to give the year, that date, the author and date. Those are the two most important things. With APA, it's how current are your sources. And because of that, that's why they want the date right there. So there you go. There's your little bit of APA. Let's see, author's purpose, research development ethos, safe and unsafe transplant. Not quite sure about that, but I'm just kind of looking at how you have that in the pathos, beneficial rebuttals. Okay. Now let's look at what you actually wrote. Analysis of Amy Friedman's argumentative writing strategies. Amy Friedman uses multiple methods to convince and persuade her audience by using supportive evidence in her controversial article on payment for organ transplant donations. Okay, you're going to need to rewrite your introductory sentence because it's a little difficult to follow. Amy Friedman uses multiple methods of what? I'm not sure which multiple methods you're talking about. To convince and persuade her audience, we want to work on concise writing. So just to, because honestly that's just redundant, it's saying the same thing. So Amy Friedman uses multiple methods, multiple rhetorical methods to persuade her audience of what? By using supportive evidence. There's so much more than using supportive evidence that makes it sound like that's all your paper is going to be about, so take that out. Persuade her audience in her, persuade her audience of what? In her controversial article on payment for organ transplant donations. I don't know which one you're talking about as far as, like if I were going to play dumb, what article are you talking about? Where was it published? Who is Amy Friedman? And when you introduce Amy Friedman, And you have, if you're going to give her first name, you need to give her middle initial because that's how she has her name. So it's either Amy L. Friedman or Friedman. And once you use Amy L. Friedman, then from there on in, just use Friedman. Okay. Effective arguments and a writer's technique can be used to persuade, alert, excite, educate. Do you mean effective appeals? I think you mean more than arguments. That would be the correct word. Exploit. She wants to exploit, convince, and tug at the emotions. So is she persuading at the emotions of an audience? The way you have this written, it sounds like persuade at the emotions of an audience, alert at the emotions of an audience. You need to go back through and rewrite your sentence so that grammatically you're saying what it is you want to be saying. And I'd be careful with using the word exploit her, as far as, I don't think she wants to exploit anybody. Friedman successfully reached her audience. What do you mean by reached? That's sort of vague. Through proper use of ethos, logos, pathos, word choice, purpose, and researched rebuttals. That doesn't really fit the research rebuttals. You could just say and rebuttals. In an effort to gain support for her argument of legalizing payment for organ donations. For live or living organ donations. That has to be in there every time because we're not talking about donating organs of someone who's passed away. So you need to be specific. Let's see, and reached in an effort to gain support. Again, it's very similar to what you had said earlier. And I honestly take this out through proper use of blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, not the in. We want to leave the in. These lists that people tend to put in their thesis statements is something that, as a college writer, you need to stop doing. And I see this all the time, and it's just one of those things that I know people were taught to do. But at this point, I mean, look at how long your list is. If this were a 10-page paper and that list was twice as long, it's awkward enough as it is, let alone if this paper had been even longer. You need to find one all-encompassing term, which is very simple because I actually gave it to you. It's rhetorical strategies or writing techniques. If you go to Unit 1, Paper 1, Tips for Writing Paper 1, I actually give you a template for the writing the thesis statement. So I suggest you take a look at it. I think it'll help. Okay, author's purpose. Each argument Friedman uses in her article is strategically placed to benefit her controversial opinion. To benefit her controversial opinion? That's not what she's doing. She's trying to persuade her audience to be advocates for or to support the policy that she wants. Without fully expressing her purpose, the audience cannot relate with Friedman. You mean to Friedman? Nor can they truly support her idea. Friedman has one key determination and uses multiple rhetorical arguments to support her purpose. Okay, again, I'm not sure what you mean by one key determination because you don't tell me what that is, and it's repetitive. You need to work on concise writing. In the APA tab, there's a section that talks about concise writing. If you haven't already looked at that, please do. If you have, then please review it because that's something you need to work on, is your concise writing. In the article for me, less hair bloods. I'm not, let me see. Friedman's desperation for audience to understand the risks. I'm a little concerned about what you have in these sections and how you've titled them. How is desperation for risk awareness purpose and research development's purpose? I would almost just take all of that out because it's rather difficult to understand and it doesn't really fit with what we've been doing in class. My suggestion is, if you have not already looked at the PowerPoint that I provided with the videos where I explain the whole article and all the different pieces of it, then please look at that because I think you might be misunderstanding some of the rhetorical strategies that I've been trying to talk to you about and some of the lessons. Okay, ethos. The first sentence of this article states that government seems to allow. Immediately, the sentence has the audience asking why. Why does the government feel donors should not be allowed to benefit? On the other hand, they may be asking, from her choice of words, Freeman opened her article with a controversial statement. How is that ethos? I'm almost thinking maybe you don't, I'm not sure if you don't understand the argument, or if you don't understand fully the rhetorical strategies. I think that you would greatly benefit by coming in to see me. There's a lot, as I'm going through this paper, that there's a lot that you need to work on, and that I think a discussion between the two of us would be a lot easier to work on this paper than me just giving you this information on this little video. So I would be more than happy to extend your due date for this paper if you are willing to come in and see me so I can give you some assistance one-on-one, and you that way we can discuss it so I know what it is you were thinking, because it's kind of hard for me to know how to help you fix this unless I know where you were coming from when you were writing it, if that makes sense. So please contact me if you want to come in and get some assistance, like on Monday. And if you don't and you just want to write the paper, that's fine. But I really highly suggest that you come in so we can discuss this in person. Okay? Let me know. Thanks.